Hello everybody, my name is Mintercraft, and this is going to be a rather interesting video. Now, it is dark, so the lighting is a little interesting right now, so if the background looks freaky or a little too awkwardly lighted, I'm trying some new things out, and so yeah, if it looks weird, that's fine. I have mentioned in the past that I have been getting into music a little bit, and so I thought, you know what, let's make a video about what I'm doing, maybe show you guys something, maybe you can get something out of this. I don't know, since I've mentioned it in the past, might as well kind of show you what I've been doing. So this video is just going to be me going through how I'm learning, maybe some of the tools that I'm using, and then maybe some tips or whatever things I think are easier to learn. Which, I don't know, this may be kind of a weird video, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a shot. And since I've been learning music and I've mentioned that in the past, why not do a video on it and just show you guys what I'm doing and some of the stuff I use, and maybe you can get something out of this, which I pretty much just said that earlier. But anyway, let's get straight into it. I'm not sure if she shows up well in the video, but that loaf right here is my cat. She's just chilling there, probably annoyed that I'm disturbing her sleep with this video. Okay, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my equipment and what software I'm using. I'm not gonna go into like a huge in-depth of the software and the gear that I'm using, because this is not like a sponsorship or anything, or it's not like a product review or anything like this. This is just what I'm doing with music and how I'm learning it. So the software that I am using is FL Studio. For me, I found it to be pretty interesting. At first, it was a little confusing because I've been using GarageBand to learn and just dip my feet into the water just to see what it's like. And then once I decided that this is, I think, where I want to go, then I bought FL Studio, which I started off with. I don't remember what the second to last bundle was, but I bought that first, and then I upgraded to the all plugins edition because they were having a pretty sweet deal at the time when I upgraded it, which I think I upgraded it, I want to say, a few months ago. I don't quite remember. I don't really track any of this. All I know is I've upgraded it for a pretty good deal. Now, for me, FL Studio has worked out great. This DAW is geared more towards, I should say, like trap and rap and hip hop, that kind of stuff, I would guess. Which, I mean, you can use it for whatever you want. It's just that it has a beat sequencer, and just the layout and the workflow works better with trap, rap, and hip hop and those kinds of genres. Which, I mean, I guess you can customize it however you want. Like I said, I'm still learning this software, but for me, FL Studio has worked out great. Of course, I'm not sponsored by them or forced to say anything good about them or whatever. This is just my own personal opinion, and like I said earlier, I'm not gonna go into crazy detail about FL Studio. Heck, that's actually all the detail you're gonna get is my review on it, pretty much. Now, the equipment I am using, like I said, I'm not gonna go into crazy detail. I'm just gonna go over quickly what I have. I'm using the FL Key 37. This keyboard MIDI controller is built specifically for FL Studio. I don't think you can use it for any other DAW, which wouldn't really make sense if you could use it, because it says it right in the name, FL Key, and it's built specifically for FL Studio. I mean, maybe you can use it for others, but you're gonna be pretty limited on what you can do. I mean, unless you are some type of tech wizard or something to know how to program it or whatever, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. But that is the MIDI controller that I am using. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by these guys. I'm not sponsored by anybody if I mention a product or whatever. This is just my personal opinion and kind of review of it. If you want to see like full-on reviews of these products, maybe I can do a video of them, or you can go to watch somebody else's review, which I recommend going to watch somebody else's review because they would probably do a lot better than I would. Now, of course, the reason why I bought the MIDI controller was it was built specifically for FL Studio. Before, I had, I think it was called Akai Mini PK, I believe. I could be saying that completely wrong, but it was just a 2-octave MIDI controller, and the FL Key 37 is I think 37 key, and it is 3 octaves this time instead of the 2 octaves, because the 2 octaves, I found it funny, on my desk here, it was so small, it was like I was playing with raptor arms like this, or T-Rex arms, I should say. I don't know why I said raptor, because T-Rex makes more sense, it's short. Anyway, now, another thing I like about this MIDI controller is it has a beat sequencer and a drum pad that you can use for drums and stuff like that, which I find pretty interesting. And now, I haven't learned every single thing about this keyboard, or MIDI controller I should say, because I just got it somewhat recently, just after Christmas. But so far this has worked out great, and it works quite well with FL Studio, and in the fact that you can control almost everything in FL Studio on your MIDI controller. So it saves me the time of going from the MIDI controller to the keyboard, from the MIDI controller to the keyboard, back and forth, whatever. That just got kind of complicated, and it just makes it a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. Now, I may or may not have mentioned this earlier in the video. It may have been a take that was taken out, because I've done quite a few takes so far, and I don't really track those, so I don't know if I said this or not, but I do not use a microphone. I do kind of want to get into singing, maybe some ad-libs or whatever for my tracks. Now, I say singing and stuff, but it's going to be like heavy auto-tune and that kind of stuff, which just kind of experimenting with that, which I'm not sure if I would go full-on artist, singer, whatever, because I'm not fantastic with singing, and singing is not one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm super passionate about. I mean, if something turns out great with auto-tune, like I said, it's going to be probably heavily auto-tuned, or I'm going to go through classes or something like that. I don't know. Like I said, that would be something I would just experiment with. But if it does take off somewhere, or I do something with singing, then maybe. But right now, I'm not getting into singing at all or anything. Like I said, I might just try it a little bit. That was kind of confusing. I said I wasn't going to get into it at all, and then I said I might get into it a little bit. But I really don't know where I'm going to go with that. For now, I'm just going to focus on the track producing aspect and just really focus on cranking out some tracks and either selling those or just keeping them and doing them for fun or whatever. Now, that was kind of the equipment side and software side of things. Now, how I'm learning is I'm taking an online class, which is teaching me the actually, I was going to say the fundamentals, but it pretty much teaches you everything you need to know about songwriting. Well, I say everything. Maybe there's some classes out there that you can go into more detail on certain parts of track making, but this class I'm taking online basically covers the whole thing. And then I'm also on top of that doesn't excuse me, goodness gracious, English. That doesn't really teach you the music theory aspect of things. That just kind of, holy crap, that cat scared me. I keep forgetting she's in here because I'm getting so focused on making the video. I just heard the closet doors rattle, and I look over and there's a tail going through it. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes, theory. So this class teaches me how to put things together to make a track. It doesn't really teach me theory. And for theory, I've been reading a book called Music Theory for Dummies. Now, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not sponsored by anybody in this video, like I've said, I think in the past, or earlier in the video. But I will leave the link to that book in the description below if you want to check it out. Got it off of Amazon. But that book, I found it really helpful for theory, especially for me, who's a beginner. And if you're one of those guys who's just stepping into music, I would recommend picking up that book. I'm learning everything from home. I'm not going to any like classes or schools, any type of thing where I'm leaving the house and going to meet somebody in person. I'm doing this from the comfort of my own home, which has some ups and downs to it. The ups are you can basically learn at your own pace, which I love. For me, I've always found it a lot easier for me to study at my own pace and not be rushed, which the pros to that is it's a lot more comfortable for me, and I can learn it from home and not have to worry about, oh, I got this test to do this, and I have to rush through it. For me, I find it easier to just take it a little slower than what you would normally do and just chip away at it, which I find a lot more comfortable and a lot better for me to learn that way. Now, the cons to this is you're not regularly going to a teacher in person to talk to them, where you can ask them questions of like, okay, what is this? How do I do this? And they can explain it to you there, and you take notes that way. And then also another con is since there's no deadlines for tests or anything, I'm not having to take any tests. Some classes online, you will take a test, which it's really one of those things where it's not like the teacher's monitoring you, which, I mean, some classes there are, but the style I'm doing is just like videos and stuff. So there is the con of not having tests and really challenging yourself to remember things. So another thing is it kind of doesn't really push me to try to sit down and just learn a bunch of things all at once. So there is that con, because sometimes I might lose interest or something one day if I've done a whole bunch of other things and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that today. So that is the cons to learning at home. So that was kind of the equipment I'm using, software. a little bit about what I think about it. Maybe you got something out of that, maybe you didn't. I don't know. Hopefully you did. Like I said, this is just kind of a video explaining on what I'm doing with music, since I've mentioned it in the past, and there's been like several months or so where I haven't uploaded because of really getting into music, and for other reasons too. But I don't know. Hopefully you got something out of this, and hopefully it made sense. And if not, either I will take it down or do another video about it or whatever. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace.